I get it. You operate a business in the horse industry and you know you need to be online to grow your business, but you're overwhelmed at the process and you might not even have an idea where to start. Well, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're listening to the Digital Hoofprint podcast, a podcast that shares strategy, resources, and motivation for you to grow your horse business online. My name is Abriana, and I am a business coach, brand strategist, and designer that works with equine entrepreneurs who are struggling with their online presence. I transform grade horse businesses into industry unicorns. And if you're listening to this podcast, you must be ready to establish your digital hoofprint. Whether you're listening to this while cleaning stalls or after a long day working horses, I'm breaking down this process into digestible nuggets so you can take them and apply them to your business today. Thanks so much for listening again, and let's get into today's episode.
All right, friends. Robert and I on this episode did exactly what old friends do, and we started talking without me doing an actual intro. So I just want to take a second to share just a little bit about Robert. He is a chocolatier and he owns horses and he shows walking horses and I'm not sure he has racking horses or he just shows walking horses and racking shows, but he shows all over the country. You know, he travels to his workshop where he has a team of people that creates this fine chocolate, and he has done so many things from corporate life to business consulting and entrepreneurship, um, and public speaking. So I just wanted to give a little bit of a background on Robert before we get into this episode. He has a wealth of knowledge and it's just like Kiki and with old friends. So I hope you enjoy and get a pen and paper to write down some of these gems because he is definitely dropping them. All right, here's the episode.
And honestly, like I do not believe balance exists, but people like to say that, especially in this industry.
Priorities exist. Priorities exist.
Right.
And at certain points, certain things take precedent, like getting your glasses. And then certain points, there is an ebb and flow. And I think balance means things are static, means it's here. Some days life is like this, some days work is like this, and that's just the reality of life. And I think people that talk about balance are often the people that don't like change, that don't do well. Yeah, because we're always improving. Everything that you do, you've worked on. I've been talking to you since you were telling me about the whole planner and all of that. And it has evolved and morphed and it will continue to. Yeah. And I think that's something that I don't worry about the change. I know the change is coming and I make my little notepad list. These are the things that I need, like at the beginning of the week, Sunday night, I have this needs to happen this week. And my objective is then within reason, I'm going to make all of these things happen within the week. Yeah. It would be nice if they could be all done on Monday, but that's not always realistic. And it's also not healthy.
Right.
I think we get so adamant. We create our anger points, and I don't think a lot of people realize that we create our own anger points. If I've got to do it right now and something impedes that, then I get upset. And this was something I kind of got in touch with. I was a theater major. And so one of the things we discussed was emotions. And some people say, you know, act mad or act sad. And then one of my professors was like, bad act emotions. Good actors act objectives. What is your objective? If I'm trying to cross the stage and someone is stopping me, then anger is a response. I'm not acting angry. Anger is a response to
that circumstance,
this issue blocking me. And so I thought about that, and it allowed me, working from an acting standpoint, it allowed me to assess how I feel about things, and also, what is this coming from? When I'm in that mood, you know, sometimes you get that, there's just that mood. Doesn't matter what, no one said anything to you, but you're just in that. And I thought, what is this coming from? What is it coming from? And sometimes it's as simple as, I didn't eat breakfast at 8 o'clock, like I normally eat breakfast, you know, that kind of a thing. And it throws your whole day off. But if you stop and go, you know what, I can eat at 8:30. It ain't no big deal. It's not a big deal. I do that a lot when I deal with business stuff. Right now, sort of tangent, not really. With my chocolate stuff, has a huge order coming in, and I have to deal with import-export stuff. That's very tenuous right now. There's a lot of ships at port. A lot of things are happening where, if you notice, electronics and a lot of things that are higher
going up,
because they can't get them into the country. Now, it was a really big client. I could do two things. I could try to go the normal and deal with the question mark of if my stuff's coming, if it'll get through the port, if it'll do these things, and the uncertainty and or anger that would cause if I don't know what's happening. Or I could spend the extra $100, $200 and get it flown over. Some people say, well, you know, you spent more than you would normally do shipping. Yeah, I did.
But for that guarantee.
Exactly. But I also averted so many other things like stress and, you know, so was it worth it? Yeah, to me at this point, my peace is worth it. I don't care what it is.
Ooh,
you know, I've gotten, my peace it's key. And if that means I spend an extra dollar, we make money every day. That's what we do. And you get up, you know, so I can make another dollar. I can't make another second. I can't make another moment of time. So I'll gladly give you dollar for my peace. I'll gladly give you dollar for my time so that I get it back. And and that's kind of how I deal with work-life balance. I don't give myself reason to be upset all the time.
Yeah. And honestly, I've got a small email challenge going through right now. And that's an exercise that I take them through. Like, what kind of wealth is in your bank? And wealth is not just money. You know, wealth can be in terms of support, in terms of love, in terms of trust, in terms of peace, in terms of, well, the opposite, not having peace would be stress, you know? And so what kind of wealth, like, how can you build wealth in these other areas that influence your money, you know? And it's like exactly what you said. And through the exercise, I say, okay, what is the exchange rate on that? When you're thinking about dollars and cents, how much would you pay?
Yeah, what's the cost to value ratio for you?
Yeah. How much is that? And okay, that is what you are looking at when you have that client that is like, you know, a pain in the ass and you're struggling. And it's like, okay, well, ma'am, last time I checked with my bank, my piece cost about $4.50. Okay. And you only pay $50 for a lesson. So
we're at a deficit, and I don't.
We're at a deficit. We are at a deficit. Time, energy, and attention deficit.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had a client. There was a quote, and I want to find it really quickly. It basically talks about saying, if you can't say no or yes wholeheartedly, I'm going to find it one moment. You'll end up saying let's see. We can keep going. I'm gonna find it because it was very much a place of knowing that there are some clients, or not necessarily the whole client, but even a project or situation where you just have to go, mm-mm. And be fine with that. It's okay. It doesn't mean that you can't manage or can't handle. It means that you understand the cost and the value.
Right.
That you understand that this one particular client contacted me and she was like, oh, it was just the whole dialogue. You know how like there are certain people who your ideal client automatically says certain things. They just they just are. And those people that you kind of want to help, but they're really not your client. But you get, I could help. I'm sure I could jump in and pitch in, and you know how that goes.
You're reading my whole life.
And then you look and you go, why did I just say no to this? Why did I should have just went ahead and before we went down this path, I should have looked at it and been willing to say, no. I'm going to have to pass on this, or I don't think I can be the best option to serve you.
Exactly.
Yeah, sorry, that was somebody trying to like call in the middle of my Zoom call. I was like, no. But no, basically it said something to the effect of, if you can't say yes wholeheartedly, if you will end up saying it half-heartedly, which will then create more drama than if you just said no to begin.
Right.
And sometimes, so this one particular client, and I try to not classify. None of my clients I will ever make feel that they are not my best client. Does that make sense? Like everyone gets my full attention. I don't. But internally, I'm like, girl, you don't pay. Your whole project is less than a tenth of my next project. The whole project. And then she was trying to like negotiate. So we're not negotiating. I was like, no. And finally, she ordered a larger volume. This is a literal example, not even she ordered 1,000 units of an item. And I said, if you order when you ask for one, I said, this is what one unit costs. If you order 500, this is how much it costs. And then she said, well, what if I order 1,000? I said, okay, if you order 1,000, I can work it and get it at this price point. Okay, so we've been operating. This is a year-long process. So we operated on this, and I was like, today is the day you need to pay the deposit, and I need the contract signed so that we can move forward. You get the silence, you're like, okay. So then I hear anything for a minute. And then I go, okay, well, I sent the invoice. Oh, send me the whole thing. So I sent the whole invoice, because at first I did the deposit, and then that's it. You'll get the deposit invoice, and then you get the completion. Right. Oh, well, send me the whole thing. I said, okay, so I sent the whole thing. The Friday now you're supposed to pay this, I'll get it taken care of Friday morning. The Friday morning comes, Friday morning passes, Friday afternoon passes, 5:00 on Friday, I get a text message that just says, hey, can I just go back with 500? I said, I thought you wanted 1,000. And I said, so when she said that, I said, so let me go ahead and so you want 1,000. I assume that you were expecting to get that at the 1,000 rate instead of the 500 rate, aren't you? Well, can I? No. No. First of all, we weren't in we had passed contract negotiation. You were on the day you were supposed to pay. Period. And then you actually not even a text,
at 5:00.
Instagram message. You sent me an Instagram message that, I check my Instagram messages occasionally, but it's like people that I am friends with, I'll check there. So anyway, I just happened to be on Facebook or Instagram on Friday night, and it just said, well, I would like to do the 500. And I'm like, okay. Well, I was just wanting to know, can we discuss it? Where would you like that discount? Would you like it in the quality of the product that I give you or the service that I give you? Because it's got to come from somewhere.
Right.
I'm not coming up on the short end of the stick because you can't afford what I do. Mm. You've had a year to determine if you can afford what I do. Mm. You asked that. I didn't solicit you. I didn't, propose any. You contacted me. And so I've learned to be able to say no. That helps a lot with your work, with your stress level and your work-life balance of, oh, I'm not doing, she tried to write in the middle of this past week, oh, well, what about that project? Because I'm busy with another one, but thank you. I just,
yeah, no.
It's not rude. It's not. And I think we worry about being rude sometimes, or we worry about how they're going to feel. But think about how you're going to feel when you're begrudgingly doing that job for less money.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. That's like I had a client on retainer and she's like, okay, I updated her website. We did about 3 months retainer. And she was like, all right, I'm chilling. I don't need anything for now. Like, we'll just hold off. I'm like, cool. Yeah. But then she's like, oh, this one little thing. Can you just
this one little, it's not big, it's not much.
It's not much. It's not much. No, but I have to stop what I'm doing out of my day to pull up your account, to make sure I have your password.
I could be napping,
right? Like anything. This one little thing. And I said, honestly, I don't have one little thing in my service package. It's either
you buy a package
or not. And like retainer is like $5.
We're not a la carte here.
Right. I'm like, so what you do is you stack up your needs, and then you hire me. Right?
Yeah. You determine all the things and we've talked about this before, but like, yes, I make chocolate. I am not an everyday chocolate shop. That's not what I do. That's not my target. That's not the quality of product that I provide. None of what I do is, oh, I'm just going to pick up a box of chocolate.
Right.
The current client I'm working on, they have 8,000 units. 8,000 units that I have to get fulfilled by the middle of November. I don't have a factory of like 100 people. It's 4 of us. And so that means time management is crucial, just so that we can pace ourselves. So I can't take, while some people are like, oh, it's just this one little box of chocolate. I said, do you know what I have to stop so that we can make your one little box? Because I said, I don't have chocolate sitting by. We're not that type of a place. Most chocolate shops have so much chocolate sitting that they have to melt it down at the end of the month. And when I first learned that when I was designing a business, I was like, wait, so you paid someone to make that chocolate, it sat on a shelf, and then you paid someone to destroy the chocolate that you spent money making last week or last month to turn around and have them make some more next month. That's not sustainable. That's what most chocolate shops do. So our thing is, we don't make it till you buy it. There is not a single thing that I create that doesn't already have an owner. It's going somewhere. And so
that's amazing.
It cuts down on a lot of things. It cuts down on a lot of waste. It cuts down on a lot of forced sales. I'm not trying to convince you to buy this chocolate that someone else didn't buy. I didn't, it allows that, but it creates a certain set of circumstances of, no, I can't make you a box of chocolate at the drop of a hat. I just can't. And it's not my fault if you don't understand that that's not what I do. That's why, so I, going back to work-life balance, not to get on a tangent, on the work-life balance, what I try to do is go, this week, what's important? And what determines what's important for this week is based on long-term goals, whether it be a 6-month. I try to do things in 3 months, 6 months, and a year.
Yeah.
And I kind of have, at the end of next year, I want this. At the end of 6 months, I need this, or this needs to happen. Over the next 3 months, these things need to occur. And those metrics determine what I make a priority this week. And, you know, I'm not at home. I'm in Tennessee. My partner and everybody's at home in Jersey right now. But I worked and did a lot of stuff in Jersey for the last 2 months because I knew I'm going to be living at the factory in Tennessee, working to turn this project out for the next month and a half. So some would say I live at my job. Some would say, oh, you're not going to see, you know, your spouse for a month. How are they going to deal with that? I'm making money. He's happy. So, you know, it's one of those things. The bills are paid. I'm sending in the mortgage and all this other. Yeah, everybody's good because I'm working. Now, granted, we did have to have a conversation at the beginning of our relationship, which was years ago, about my work takes me away. Whether I was training horses at the time, which when we met I was, or whether I'm doing chocolate, my work takes me away for blocks of time, chunks of time at a time. So that's just what I do. And I even said, now, if you want me to sit here on the couch and you bring home the money,
by all means.
I will make this place spotless. I said, I will cook. This place will, again, my little apron, we will have it set. But that means it's on you to bring in the money or replace the salary that I generate being on the go. Yeah. And I think that's a conversation that people need to have. I don't think a lot of people talk about. It isn't that, oh, my job is so important. I just know the best ways based on my set of circumstances for me to sustain us. I know I can make more money on the go than I can being still or working in the same place. So then having that conversation so that we have to go, like, you know, what would you like to do? And how would you like to live? And do you understand that, yeah, this is for a short window of time? Because as I said, when I retire and set it down, don't look for me to do anything. I'm not doing anything, you know, and I'm okay with that. And being honest and talking about those things will solve more problems than stressing, because I think a lot of people just don't talk about it. They don't, they're not real with themselves, which means it's hard to be real with someone else about the work that they do. Your work, while it doesn't look like, I guarantee you there are people who think you just sit around and play on your computer all day. Yeah. And you're like, no, but that's what they think. My house, or I'm able to work on remote or whatever. They think, oh, well, but the mental, having built websites and built programs for my personal stuff, you know, and then your eyes start crossing at about 11:30 at night, and you're sitting there going, did I eat? You know, have I slept? You know?
One pixel at a time. Like, wait, did
one
that
pixel
move?
at a time.
Did that move?
And then you're like, you know, what is the hex code for this color? I think it's the same.
But does it look like that on my phone?
Yes, or people that send you I like this color, and you're like, what color is that? What I don't know what that is. Yeah. So it is very easy to discount things that we do naturally because it comes easier to us. Sometimes we're like, oh, I can do this while I'm doing this over here. I'll just throw that in. Yeah. And that's what really screws with the balance of the work-life balance, where you take on more than you probably should. Yeah. Because you like what you do. If you didn't like what you do, you wouldn't do it. Right. And, you know, even with me and horses and strategizing and, you know, my horse is good, and I would love to think, oh, I just ride so well and that's why we win. But no, it takes a lot of planning to go, is this the right show? Is this weekend the right weekend? Is, you know, there's so many things that factor into how we do and doing well. I mean, anybody can just load up and go to a show, and whatever happens, happens. But
Right.
I think, but I enjoy the strategy part. I enjoy sitting and looking at all my options. I also think with business and the chocolate business, I have to pace myself because I'm a work to get it done kind of person.
Yeah.
Like I just want to get it done. And there are some things that chocolate has forced me to accept that you just can't do in one setting. And I'm not used to that. And so, and even 7 years in, I still struggle with, I can just knock it out. I'm gonna knock it out today. Yeah. The order that I have with these 8,000 units, it's virtually impossible for me to do in a day. Completely, you just can't. You can't do it in a week. Right. So I'm kind of excited about it because it forces me to go, you're going to work in this 8-hour block or 10-hour block, and then you're going to get up and go do something else. Read a book, go fishing, go outside, do something. Don't go try to halfway do it. Stop. Yeah. And then when you return to it the next day, knock it out. Don't do anything but that for that window of time. Yeah. Yeah. It's teaching me to pace myself. But even up till now, even though I know that I should pace myself, I don't.
This is not something that you learn immediately. You have to do it over and over and over. You say, I recognize I'm not doing it. Let me get back to it.
I went and altered a riding suit yesterday because I thought, I went to pick up, and this feeds into how I ended up at the tax store today. Yesterday, I needed a blue. I have a black suit. I have a gray. I needed something blue to complement a brown horse. And I didn't want to spend a lot of money because I'm trying to lose weight for next season, and I'm not, riding suits are expensive. So I'm like, I'm not going to do that. So I was like, I found a used one. It's great. It was for this jacket fit, the vest fit, the pants sort of fit. They were just a little tight in the thighs. So I was like, I'll just go find a tailor or seamstress. I went to the dry cleaners because I needed to clean anyway. And then they were like, oh no, we can't do that. So I called this tailor and she was trying to tell me all about it, blah, blah, blah. I said, I just need to know if you can do it. I just need to know, can you do it? What it's gonna cost? What's the turnaround time? So then I was like, you know what? I can sew. Next thing I'm in Walmart buying a sewing machine and I'm out here I'm going to take, and I did it. It was at 12 o'clock last night. I'm tailoring these pants, watching Kill Bill on TV. And then my partner called and he was like, are you seriously at 1 a.m. still sewing? I was like, whoa, I could do. He said, I know you can sew, but was that the best use of your entire evening? You tailored a riding suit while watching a movie, while on break from doing chocolate. I'm just gonna tailor this suit. And he was like, where did you get a sewing machine? I bought. So he said, so you went and bought a sewing machine to go tailor a suit in one evening. And so you stop it. And when he said it out loud, I kind of like, that just sounds foolish as all get out. But when you're in that moment, I can do this, let me pick this up. I done bought the bobbin and the thread, I bought some new scissors, because you need good scissors. So I literally, in that moment, I was so invested in that, I got to get this done, that I didn't realize that, could I have still done it? Sure. Did I really have to do it like right then? Was that the best use of my evening when I just worked the whole day with chocolate and shipments and he said, so your relaxation is working. Is that what I'm hearing? It's like, but it happens.
I have secondhand embarrassment for you because
I was just like,
I see you in me. I see you in me. Like that is me. I will be like looking at this shirt, like, how much is that shirt? You know what?
Exactly.
I'm gonna go buy a blank. I'm gonna go buy some vinyl. I'm gonna cut out what I want.
Cut out. Give me some.
I'm gonna press it.
Iron it all. Yeah, and it doesn't mean that it shouldn't be done. And I definitely tell people to be resourceful,
Mhm.
But understand timing. And I think that's where we're going. It's timing that
Yeah.
in that moment,
Yeah.
you could have prepared. I could have bought the sewing machine. I could have said, you know what? I'm going to work on that this week. I
Mhm.
don't show for another 7, 8 days. I'll leave for the show on next Thursday. So I literally have a week.
Robert,
At any point in
I thought you might be doing it soon. It was not
next
soon.
week.
It's not even
Next week.
tomorrow.
No, next. But I had to have it right then. Like, and so it wasn't even, yeah. And I thought about that. It's like, Robert, you don't need this tonight. You need this a week from tonight. And even in that, who knows? In the next week, I could have found somebody to probably tell, there anything could, but in that moment, I had to have it and make it right then. And I've been working on that because I realized that when I'm supposed to be resting, I pick up other projects. Or my laundry list of these are my fun projects on the side. And, I have to, and that to me, that's where I juggle, not so much work-life balance, but time management in that sense of the thing. I think the people that often ask me about work-life balance don't like the jobs. They don't like what they do.
Yeah.
And so they're honestly, the conscious phrase is they're looking for their moment of escape.
Mm-hmm.
And so how much time till I can forget this place and go back to my life?
Mm-hmm.
And I think rather than worrying about a work-life balance, you should be understanding how that we work because we're not born wealthy, period. That's the only reason I work. If I was born wealthy, I would not work. I wouldn't pretend to work.
No.
I'm not one of those people that'll win the lottery and then go back to job. No.
No.
There was nothing about work that draws me. Now, I work because it's a necessity. And I will work as long as it's a necessity. As soon as I can get to where it ain't a necessity, we ain't working either. So I have things that I enjoy. Yes, horses I enjoy. Music and travel and all of these things I enjoy. And I would spend my days doing.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to work-life balance, I always encourage people who are trying to find that to tell me about what is it that you don't like about your job? Because there's something.
Yeah.
And there's something going on that you are, I don't want to say soul sucking, but I think it doesn't replenish you. I think the work that you do revives you. You're excited about it. When you come up, whether you're writing or you're interviewing or you're creating,
Mm-hmm.
that recharges you. Horses, I am never tired of horses.
Right.
Never tired of horses. And even when I worked at a competitive barn, our world championships, you would literally work 20 hours a day. You would get up at 6, work until 2, take a nap, back at the barn by 3 or 4, and then you work till midnight, maybe drive home. It'll be about 2 when you get home, put the horses up. It's almost 4, maybe 12, about 2:30 to 3, maybe 4. And then you've got to go home, sleep, and be back at work by 6 the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And we would do that for 2 weeks straight. And I said, are you exhausted? I said, I may be a little tired, but I'm so amped. The adrenaline is so high because I'm having so much fun doing it. Because even when I do get tired, I stop and go, someone's paying me to play with these ponies. Mm-hmm. What I was going to do anyway, someone's paying me. So I find the gratitude in that. Even with chocolate, on my rough days or my stressful days or bad days, I stop and go, you make chocolate for a living. It's not that bad. It really, and you can't, I can say, I got so much to do. Oh, it's got this didn't work right. But I'm like, no one's standing on my neck. I don't deal with inner office nonsense. I go in the kitchen, I talk to my crew, some things I just do by myself because it's easier. But I do realize that I'm very blessed to be able to say that I like my job. But I also immediately tell people that don't, go find what makes you happy.
Yeah.
And just go find what makes you happy. Because if you don't, we work entirely too many hours of our life to not enjoy it.
Right.
To not, you know, the stress and because that's why they all immediately start talking about, oh, I missed my kids growing up. My dad ran his own company. He was in the backyard, I was outside. You know, I didn't miss my dad being a business owner.
Yeah.
I think when I started hearing that, oh, you know, I missed my kids this, or, you know, I couldn't do this, we couldn't go here. And I said, isn't your job supposed to be enabling you to live this like amazing life?
Right.
That's what your job is for.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times people that's why
Don't think about it that way.
They don't think about it that way. That's why I'm like putting your life first and figuring out what you want that to look like. Your job is supposed to support that.
Yes. That's the first thing when people want to interview people.
As a professional in the horse industry, we are always looking for ways to improve our craft. As a business owner, it's our goal to build a business that supports our dream lifestyle. That's why I developed the Equipreneur Planner. This planner is a snapshot of your business from your offers to your online marketing. Whether you're looking to stand out in an oversaturated market or you need to audit your current business operations, this planner has the resources to guide you in that process. After spending an entire year developing this signature planning system, I've made it available to equine entrepreneurs just like you. Give yourself permission to change your life. Go to www.blackunicorncreative.com/planner to sign up for the waitlist.
It sounds simplistic, but it comes down to, I speak a lot at schools, whether it's elementary or high or even college. And one of the things that I always ask, what do you like to do? What do you enjoy? And I was amazed at the number of kids who didn't have an answer because no one had ever asked them that.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, you need to know that should have been a knee-jerk answer. Mm-hmm. What makes you happy? What do you like? What inspires you? What intrigues you? What interests you? What do you want to know about the cosmos? Do you want to know about grass, how it grows? Whatever it is, if you want to be an artist. Mm-hmm. It doesn't, I'm not even asking about what career you want, because I think that's the thing. People always ask them what kind of job you want. What kind of job? I'm like, I don't want a job. Straight up, I don't want a job. I have a job because I need one, but I don't want a job. And I think people were prepared to answer that question, mm-hmm. but I wouldn't ask that question. I just want to know, what do you like to do? Mm-hmm. And then if it starts that early, that a teenager isn't in tune with what they like to do, if they're not in tune with what they like to do, it makes it very easy for you to fall into the trap of a 9-to-5. And I don't say 9-to-5 in terms of just that work structure, but someone else's thing. Right. And it doesn't mean that everyone should be an entrepreneur either. I said, find a job that allows you to do what you want to do. You know, and whatever that is, but you got to know, design the life you want first. And it doesn't matter how fantastical it sounds. It doesn't matter how illogical to the next person it sounds. Yeah. You know, I'm very clear that I want to live on a tropical isle or in tropical climates, either Mediterranean, and I would like a resort type setting. I don't care if it's a villa or a farm where, you know, a chateau and a farm and pasture. I don't.
Yes, a chateau. Give us a chateau, man.
Exactly. And I'm going to have that. And I have looked at how to make that a reality. It doesn't matter that, because people like, Robert, you know, why don't you move back here? So I'm leaving the country, straight up. I'm just letting you know, I'm headed out. And I have nothing against America. I just know that the life that I want to live happens elsewhere.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
And so I need to go where the climate is tropical and I don't have to deal with the cold. I'm not a cold weather person. So if I'm fine, if I'm chasing the sun, as they call it, I want certain things, and I design my life to do that, to accomplish that.
Yes.
Whether or not it makes sense to anyone else.
Yes, yes, that is absolutely true. And honestly, like, I remember when I left my job last year, I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but I hadn't really envisioned what this life could be. I didn't really give myself permission to say,
To
okay,
fantasize.
Right, to fantasize, like, what does this life even look like now that you have that flexibility. I'm just like, yeah, I want to work from home, I want to do, but what does that mean? And that means exactly like what happened today. It doesn't matter, like a 9 to 5, working between the hours of 9 to 5 would be a piece of cake at this point. Okay, I just spent the last 6 hours driving my grandma around. Okay, I currently work a lot of hours a day to understand or to bring to fruition the vision that I allowed myself to have. So,
but you're working on a shorter curve than most people are. So that what happens is people just see that we're working hard now, but we will reach that point quickly than those that are doing this that may not get there.
Yeah.
Because they're counting on the long game of it might pay off.
Right.
And yeah, it seems like it's a lot of hours. Now I said I work a lot of hours for, I have a 5 to 6 year plan. It was a 10-year. COVID let me know that, you know what, you better speed that up. But it was originally a 10-year plan, but it's a 5-year plan. And I know that at 5 years, I'm shifting gears. I'm not saying I will close the company. It'll run. I won't be doing what I do now. I may still have it and it's just running, on its own. But my commitment to the life that I plan and myself and the people that are on this journey with me is, we're moving forward. And, I laugh and tell the guys all the time at home, I don't care if I'm working at a cabana bar on some tropical place, telling stories about my life back in the States, whatever. I'm not chasing infinite or wealth. I'm not chasing that. I'm chasing a life. I'm actively living. Even like you and I talk about showing horses, or I talk about showing horses, you ride. I know how but
those days are way behind me.
But I think that even in that, while it's work and I have to get on a plane and I'm somewhere else and doing whatever, I realize I'm living my dream. I get to get up and go, oh, I'm taking this weekend off and I'm going to go ride my horse and have fun with my horse and the people that enjoy the things that I enjoy. And then, I'll be back Monday and I'll be right back on the grind on Monday. But for this moment, I'm going to go, I'm not putting that off. I think a lot of horse kids fall into the trap of, oh, I'm going to college, I sell my horse, I start a family, I do these things. And then when I'm 60 and the kids are out of college and whatever, then I might ride again. I'm like, A, kids, but B, even if I were, I'm not putting my life on hold.
Right.
Thinking that there is something else I should be doing, because what inevitably happens is the people who you believe or who you tell yourself you put your life on hold for, you resent. And it trickles it trickles in, even if it's not conscious, even if it's not purposeful.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you aren't living your best life,
Mm-hmm.
trying to instill something into another human, be it a spouse or a child or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it may be,
Mm-hmm.
it will slowly poison that
Yeah.
because you're not being true to you.
Yeah.
And you're not getting the best you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 100% different person when I can get to the barn as of when I'm stuck and I can't get to the barn. And
Yeah.
I mean, there are days Ben's like, just go, I'll see you later. I don't want to deal with you. And you know, and I didn't recognize that until I had someone that was living with me that who was seeing. Because you know, you're doing your thing. I'm just the same. I'm fine.
Yeah.
But you're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's something as simple as, I need to go stand and just smell hay and hear my horses. And it doesn't have to mean I go to, should just be around that.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with saying that. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging that makes your soul happy.
Right.
And then do that allows you to come back and listen to people in their voicemails and emails and just add this little thing on. You can do that because you know what? I just got good quality time.
Yeah. And I feel like, so, you know, you mentioned those people, they do that thing where they, you know, put it off, but also there's another type of person when, especially in the horse industry, if they say, you know, I want to do something like this for a living. You've done that, you know, so you can speak to that, but I want to do something like this for a living in this industry, whether it be training, farrier work, you know,
stable management, breeding management, all those things.
Anything directly with horses. It's, you know, you're going to have to work a job that takes advantage of you until
it's pulling your happy place. It's sucking at your happy place.
Yeah.
Not that it can't, as long as it recharges, that's one thing, but there are a lot of times that people aren't, again, you still have to be clear, even if you're doing a job that you love, you have to have the conversation still with yourself about what is it about what I do, or this, I tell myself that I want to be a horse trainer, which wasn't what I told myself, but I was getting out of college and needed a job. And the guy was like, hey, do you want to turn pro? I'll pay you and provide housing. So, you know, it was not even on my list, but I'm like, wait, I was going to do this on the side or just for myself, but, I can collect a check. Oh, we're good.
At least try.
But yeah, we'll try that. But what happens is I think they're not clear. I don't think a lot of people are, you know, I call it the Monday through Thursday, not glamorous stuff. Weekends are great. You know, whether you're trail riding or friends campouts or horse showing, for weekends are great.
Yeah.
Monday morning, Monday, you know, you got to clean, you got to reset from the weekend, you got to prepare and to me, Monday is my happy day because even in the horse barn, the other guys just wanted Monday off. They wouldn't come in. So if it was a show, I would agree to work Monday. I'm by myself. I got the barn to myself and I'm shining tack. It was therapeutic for me to not have any other people around.
Yeah.
But I had to figure that out. It wasn't always like that. And it wasn't, and I knew I was affected by these bitter, angry people that got to come in on Monday morning because they're tired from the weekend. And folks throwing stuff and mad. And you know, why are you upset? It's Monday. But you have to, I think that's why a lot of people get married to other people on the circuit. Not necessarily because I don't want to say they don't love them. I'm going to say that they are marriages of convenience.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I go to the same, we show horses every weekend. Whether I'm in a different city, I see the same group of people.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, Miss So-and-so's daughter from one bar married assistant trainer from another bar. And
Mm-hmm.
just cause that's who I saw. Yeah. Not, and I even knew that. I knew that I needed to be with someone that was not of horses.
Same.
That I needed to be with someone, that can appreciate what I do and allow me space to do that. Right. But I need to be able to not, I always talk about horses, I do, but I need to be able to have a whole nother dialogue. There's a whole other side of me that has nothing to do with riding a horse. Yeah. And there's so many other facets and things that I enjoy, and I want to be able to not deny those either. As much as I'm into horses, I don't want to deny those other parts of me. Yeah. And so perspective, it keeps you in perspective. Are there some exchange? There's always concessions on either. You're in a relationship, there's always concession on either side. Right. But as long as you are able to be your whole self authentically, I think everything else kind of falls into place. There are always challenges, but even with your job, you have to look at it. You have to look at it in context of, is this decision leading to the life that I designed? And if you don't know what that life is or what it looks like, stop. I'll tell people all the time, get you something where you can punch the clock. That 9 to 5, when I was designing the life that I wanted to live, I was working at a hotel. And I started working at this hotel because it was like insurance. Because when you're a horse trainer, that's not a thing. So I worked at this hotel. I got free insurance. But what it also got me was I could sit down. I mean, you're at a horse barn, you're going. We had 70 head of horses. You're going from the time you get there to the time you leave. But with this job, this hotel job, I sat in a desk and no one really bothered me. They didn't come to my office. I was sitting there. Yeah. And I had to think long and hard about, like, Robert, what do you want to do? What kind of life do you want? Where do you want it? Where do you see yourself? Yeah. And have fun with that. I don't think we teach people, like you said, I hadn't given yourself permission to do that. And I said, dream, seriously dream, try it. Yeah. And don't filter yourself through, oh, well, that's not logical, or that's not this, or no, just let it go.
I haven't seen anyone do that before.
Yeah. Try it, think about it, fantasize about it, and then go back and look at your list, leave it alone for a minute, and go back and look and like, well, I think I can do this and this. I think this is doable. And then start molding that into a vision. And if you do that, let everything else, all your other decisions, feed that vision. Right. And I don't call it work-life balance. I'm like, these decisions at the time got me further along the path to where I want to go. Yeah. And don't feel like changing methods is failure. It's not. Often in my interview, when I'm interviewed about being an entrepreneur in chocolate business, they always like, so is this what you always dreamed of doing? Nope. No. I was business consultant. I was not a chocolate person. Do you plan on doing this forever? Nope. It's a means to an end. I love what I do, but it's a means to an end. And when it's time to do something new, I won't regret a single moment of it. I will go, you know what? I accomplished a lot. I learned a lot. I met a lot of people. I've made a lot of impacts. And it's time for something else. And it's easy to get conditioned if you look at things around you or people around you that, you're only credible if you've been in the same job 15 years doing the same thing.
Nah. People learning stuff off YouTube and getting whole jobs.
Literally
Like
today. Yeah, go get you another job. Go. There's a phrase my mom always said, and I don't know if she coined it or what, but I'd never heard it anywhere else. And she says, here's the deal. Go fix your life, because a job means just over broke, J-O-B. You are always just over broke, which is why you have to keep going back there every week. So she says, if at any point you stop going to that job, you will find yourself broke. Mm-hmm. So she always called a job just over broke. Mm-hmm. And if you remember that, it won't allow you to get comfortable believing it will always be there for you.
Yes.
And so I hope, I guess I want people to enjoy life more. Like, I don't think people do. I'm like, I'll be 43 next year. And people are always like, oh, well, when are you going to grow up? I'm like, if this is what I got, look, I'm living my life. Like,
right. What does that even mean? Like, when am I going to grow up?
Do you mean I'm going to be boring, or I'm going to not?
Yeah, crusty and boring? Nah,
yeah,
not even in the vision.
Yeah, that's the thing. But also, a lot of people are afraid. A lot of people are very afraid of things that they have. And I said, what are you? Make them ask the question, what are you afraid of? Like, what is it? Because it's something. Do you even know? And most people don't even know. They just, they're apprehensive. Oh, well, what if this goes? Well, what if this happens? Or I don't have, I don't have enough money. Or I say, aren't you working? Enough to do what?
Right.
Very few people have enough money to live the next solid year. Very few people. So most likely, wherever you are, you're going to be working on something. Mm-hmm. It's okay. But yeah, I don't know. I try to not oversimplify things, but I'm very much figure out what you want.
Right.
Quit waiting on it. It's not going to be given to you. But it also doesn't mean that it has to be tremendously hard either.
Right. Yeah. Well, let me run down, because I've been taking notes. Let me run down these things, because I'm like, I knew this was gonna happen. I was like, I have interview questions, but Robert just
I'm ready for those.
You literally answer every question, so it's fine. Okay. But I'm like, let me package this up in a bow for these people. So first, setting priorities. I always talk about that especially when it comes to this planner. Like the structure is prioritize, plan, profit. Like, that's it. There is no balance. Set priorities. Schedule your priorities. Don't prioritize. Try to prioritize your schedule. Then you set boundaries. Setting boundaries in what you'll allow, what you won't allow, and especially when it comes to client work.
Saying no is a life.
Yep. Yeah, that too. And then having hard conversations. When you're here trying to design this life that you desire, having the hard conversations with spouses, with family, with friends, with, I was talking to my therapist earlier today, and I was like, I'm having this apprehension of how I will be perceived. And she was saying, like, what do you need to do to get where you want to be? Who do you have to become? People are going to have to be okay with that, because you have these
people gonna talk way.
Yeah, you have these goals that you're trying to achieve. So who do you have to be to become that? And that's who you have to be.
Do not allow other people to speak fear into your fantasy, because they will. When I don't share a lot of my goals and fantasies and dreams with a lot. I don't. Like I said, very few people know that I'm a piece about. They're just gonna say, "Well, Robert done." You know, I'm not, it doesn't mean that I don't like people, don't love them, or their family. No, I got to do what's for me. And so,
Yeah.
being able to be willing to become who you need to become.
Yeah. Yeah. And then pace yourself. You know, that doesn't mean take 10 years, but that means as far as working like in your day to day, you know,
don't make suits at midnight. You don't need to next week.
Yes. Please do not go and buy a sewing machine.
Yeah.
And be tailoring some pants for 10 days later. Okay. And then understanding your time value that goes with that, you know, because by the time you've done all that, you could have paid somebody and the same outcome. And had the same outcome.
Yeah, and that's and freed yourself up. You know, always there's a phrase, poor people sell time, rich people buy time. And you have to understand just how valuable your time is. I don't care what you do, what level of service you provide, where you are in life. Every one of us has precious moments. And if you think of it in that context, it makes you a lot more selective with how you part with that time. And so I think being mindful of, we're not here forever. Now that doesn't mean be reckless, but it's important to plan. I'm a Capricorn. I understand that. I do those things. Planning makes me happy. And laying it out and figure and I mean I'm a plan A, B, and C-er, and maybe a D. But you know, but I'm that guy. And I enjoy succeeding. But I'm not wrapped up in the success itself. Does that make sense? Like I check off a goal, I move on to the next one. It's my life isn't going to be made or broken on any one success or failure. But I believe in using each day to the fullest. And sometimes resting is the most productive thing you can do. It doesn't mean that you were lazy, because I sometimes do that to myself where I wasn't doing 10 things a day. Oh, I was lazy today because I only did 8. You know, it's like, and give yourself some grace to know that, you know what, you're not going to get it right all the time. Half the time you won't get it right, but keep trying to get it right. And that's kind of that's what I do. So
yeah. That is exactly right. And that is why I knew you would be able to shed some incredible light and expertise on this topic as we, you know, continue to talk about that on the podcast, as well as on social media. So I thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and let people know where they can find you, connect with you.
The best and easiest way to catch me is on Instagram, Find Chocolate Man. It's simple to remember. That's kind of where my horses and chocolate and personal life just kind of intersect. I try to answer my messages, since, you know, people try to send me business that way, but I do try to answer my messages. And Viveré chocolate, that's my chocolate company. If you have a business or something that you would like to promote or an event, please reach out to me. But in short, though, keep riding, have fun. You know, it's great.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. All right, so this is let's go.
Well, I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode as much as I enjoyed putting it together. Don't forget, subscribe to this podcast, as well as leave a review and let us know how this episode has helped you in your horse business. Don't forget to connect with us over on social media, Facebook or Instagram at Black Unicorn Creative. See you guys on the next episode.